Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review impressions of a knife that I very much enjoy. This is a knife that I had in my collection and I was so glad to get it back into my collection. This is the Benchmade Adamas. This is a USA made knife. It's made by the company Benchmade here in the USA. The name of the knife is the Adamas, and you can actually see this is a Siebert collection or Siebert design. So a Siebert design which has been around for quite a while. And it is an axis lock. Now, Benchmade originally made the axis lock for everybody before the crossbar patent ran out, and everybody else is doing their own variations of it. But this uses the Omega springs in here, and this is the carbon fiber, the marbled carbon, or the, I don't know what you call it. I think it's, yeah, I guess it's marbled. It looks more marble to me than it is, you know, shredded. This looks more marble to me, yeah. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful carbon fiber. It's got such a beautiful reflection. It's almost like a dark matter carbon fiber, like fat carbon stuff, but it's just a gorgeous carbon fiber. This particular one is one with a Magnacut blade, CPM-Magnacut. So I don't know if you see that. It's CPM-Magnacut, which is pretty cool. One of the first Magnacut knives that I got from Benchmade. I did reach out to them and find out that that particular Magnacut, their heat treat, you know, they're trying to shoot for 61 to 63. So, you know, probably supposed to be around 62 is probably reasonable. I do know from stropping it, it took quite a bit of work to strop. It felt a lot like when I was stropping my McNees. I have two McNees, Mac 2s, 3.5. One's an auto, one's a frame lock, and those are both CPM Magnacut, and those are absolutely heat treated to Rockwell hardness 63, 64, and those take a long time to strop. I felt the same with this, and it's now nice and sharp, but it's a lot of work to get there. So, that being said, I think there's a good chance this is a good heat treat, right? It does have a nice swedge on top. You notice that for the blade. It's a pretty thick, robust blade. This is like meant to be like a hard use kind of knife, right? It's designed to be that. It's not designed to be like a little gentleman's EDC for nothing, but can be because of the carbon fiber. I think it looks gorgeous. It's got this bronze anodized on the steel liners and the standoffs in the back, and then the captive, the pivot collars here around this. It is a captive pivot. Notice one side doesn't have a screw and one does. This is a Lynch clip. They had the original clip that came with it. I replaced it because I was with all steel clips. I tend to bend them. So I bent it and I went ahead and got the Lynch anodized, bronze anodized clip that matches pretty closely to that. And I like it. And it's titanium, so it has a little flexibility. So yeah, to me that was worth it, right? It has these speed holes. They're not so big that your fingers get stuck, but it actually gives you some nice grip. I do like that. I can put my fingers in there to get good traction, especially if I'm using left-handed. So left-handed, I can also get my finger in there and hold it and not feel like I'm going to lose the knife, right? I hold the finger here, and when I get a hold of the axis lock, it's just a little bit easier to work that axis lock. So that's nice. The thumb studs are not the typical Volcano ones, you know, they're stepped. This is kind of it looks like a Volcano, but it's smooth. And so at first, you know, you think, is that going to be comfortable? It actually works. It really does. It works really well. It's nice jimping on top once you open it, jimping on the back of the scales and the liner all the way up to the blade, so it gives you good traction, jimping in here, jimping back there. So if you're doing and jimping in the back. So if you're doing a push cut through something heavy like plastic, cardboard, or leather, you know, you're working, you know, cutting some leather for some design, you're making like a saddle or something like that, right? That's got nice traction. If you're cutting this way, you've got traction all the way around. If you're doing a pull cut, like cutting through cardboard or styrofoam, whatever, you know, you've got good traction. You just feel like you're not going to lose your hand. And the contoured shape of these scales give it a nice rounded color, a comfort, nice rounded shape and comfort when you're holding it. And I like Lynch clip. Everything's rounded, nothing's sharp, so it doesn't cause any hot spots. Works really, really well. You know, it's a little sharp here, but it's not crazy sharp. It's not like it's going to completely file my skin, my nail off like some of the edges I've seen on other knives. It is beautifully stonewashed, so it's going to definitely take, you know, abuse, and you can use it and not worry too much, which I appreciate. Since it's Magnacut, I felt like it didn't need any coating. You shouldn't coat the blade with Magnacut. That's already incredibly water resistant. I mean, it's up there with Vanek Super Clean. It's just, you know, it's considered, you know, like a water. It's better water resistant than LC200N, I can tell you that, so that's fantastic, right? I love this very strong design of the Adamas. It's very solid. The axis lock works really well in this, and it just feels good in hand. I have large hands, and I'm just gripping it regular. I got a little extra room, so I think extra large, double extra large. If I wanted to choke up, I could definitely do that, so you know, you definitely have more room. You can pinch grip this. It does have a little drop point at the very top. I do like that. It's not necessarily, you know, I don't know what you would call it. It's not a clip point or anything. So it does have a little arch up here. That's part of that Seabird design. So it kind of reminds me of a couple of other designers who do that. But theirs stick out a little bit more. But that's kind of a cool design. I've always liked the Adamas. I had the crewwear version. I had a whole bunch of Benchmades, and when I kind of got over Benchmade, I started exploring other knives. I sold almost all my Benchmades. The only thing I had was a bug out. And I really regretted getting rid of my Adamas, and I really wish I had had that back. And so I was going to buy a crewwear version and bring it back into my collection. But then when I found out they're coming out with a Magnacut with the carbon fiber and then, you know, this bronze anodized, I thought, man, I'm going to wait for that. Took a while to come out, and I'm glad I waited, though, because it's fantastic. It's just fantastic. A little hint, you know, it's going to be a good review. So yeah, the closing, axis lock, phosphor bronze works really smooth. I've broken this in really, really well. Benchmade doesn't always have it perfectly broken in, but I tend to take my Benchmades apart, polish the phosphor bronze, make sure there's no, you know, any little burrs or anything like that on the blade or at the back of the liners or anything like that. And so when I put it back together, it tends to be pretty smooth. But I like that. I like that a lot. So I think it's really cool. The action is really good. You can see that I get that full drop going on there. And with all axis lock, you can work it both ways, or you can use the thumb studs and reverse flick with the thumb studs. Now it has a fuller, but it's not really a fuller that you can access. I can't get my fingers in there. It's too far away. So, you know, this is more aesthetics. I guess some people call that a blood groove. If you're cutting something and you want to make sure it bleeds out. And like, I guess if you're hunting and this is a hunting knife and you're using it to skin your animal or whatever, I guess it's a tool, right? It's a tool. I don't know what tools you'd need for that, but I suppose this could do that job. Typically, I would expect you'd want a thinner tool, you know, especially if you're carving and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyways, I love the accents around there. I love the combination here. I think that's really cool. The steel liners are solid. Everything's rounded, chamfered all the way around. So I think that's really great. I think it's really great. And, you know, the axis lock just works. It works really well. It's really comfortable. I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the measurements of this knife. Now, it's not going to be a light knife. Adamases are never light. So this is a 4.4 ounce knife. So this is the mini, by the way. If you didn't know, this is the mini Adamas. I think I failed to say that because I always find it funny. The mini Adamas is the small one. The large Adamas is like 9 inches. So let's go ahead and measure the overall length on this. So again, realizing that this is the mini Adamas. All right. So comparing that, the mini Adamas here, we're looking at 7 5/8 of an inch, maybe 7 3/4 of an inch, just about. Overall handle length, if you go from here to the tip, you're about 3 3/4. If you were to choke up a little bit, definitely get about 4 1/4 inch. So, you know, depends on how that works. Then you have your overall cutting length, which is from the tip to the back of the scales, you're about 3 1/4 inches. Overall cutting distance, or overall cutting of the blade, you got about 3 1/4 inches. So, you know, this is the mini 3 1/4 inches, which some knives is like the full size of the knife, right? So take that for a grain of, take that, you know, food for thought. So let's look at the overall blade stock thickness. This is not going to be a thin one. So we're 140 thousandths of an inch. So 0.14 inches, definitely a thicker blade for sure. It is not a thin little skinny blade, but you know, it's definitely a workable blade. You see it's got a strong tip, even with the swedge on top there. Definitely going to be good for poking, you know, getting into mulch, fertilizer, dog food, cat food, cases of water, Amazon boxes, birthday, Christmas presents. Yeah, this thing's going to work great. It's going to work really great, but this blade stock is really solid. And this Magnacut, I like it. I think I got some good Magnacut. I mean, is there a chance some of it could be soft? Sure, but mine wasn't. I like it. It's definitely been some work to strop that up, which I've always found when I found something soft. I have a ProTech TR3 that's in Magnacut, came out before ProTech started working with, oh my gosh, Knife Steel Nerds. Why am I, Laren Thomas, sorry. When they started working with Laren Thomas and they were getting their heat treats up to 62, 63, I believe my ProTech 3 is like 60. And I know when I strop it, it's super easy to strop. And so I know what Magnacut strops like at a lower heat treat. And this does not feel like that. I know it's not scientific. I have no way to measure Rockwell hardness. I can just tell you from my personal experience and what I feel like it is. You know, if you're an expert, you know more, you know, there's another way to definitively tell without getting a Rockwell hardness meter. Let me know, but I don't. So I go by the feel, and that tends to be pretty accurate. It tends to fall in line with what other people say. So, you know, I don't feel like I'm like trying to blow sunshine up your nose or anything, right? So there you go. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So it's a thick blade for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about, you know, the cost. It's a $355 blade. It's not cheap. I think it was $355 or it was $335. So let me double check that. All right, I'm back. It's $337.50, about $337, $338. I know the original price was a little bit higher, but $337, $338 is what they're asking for, which I know Benchmade's come out with some crazy high prices. Some of you who are not fans of the narrows, which I don't hate, and I'll be straight up with you. Do I think it's a little high? Yeah. Would I pay at a sale price where I saw it maybe at $399? Yeah, absolutely. Now this at $337, you know, the question is it worth that? It's too much. And I'm like, well, it's worth what you're willing to pay for it. And I was willing to pay for this. So yeah, there you go. I like this knife. I've always wanted one of these back in my collection. This was a beautiful design. I didn't see a whole bunch of available, so I jumped on it as soon as it came out. Maybe I could have found a better deal, but my worry was that I thought these were limited, and I still think they are. And once they're gone, you're not gonna be able to have one in your collection, and I wanted to have one. So, and I like this knife. I like the Adamas. I really enjoy that, and this design of the Adamas I think is really, really cool. So I was happy to get it. So at $337, it's definitely a high-end knife. I like it. EDC use, absolutely EDC use. It's a little pricey, but absolutely. Magnacut is so great. I actually have a McNeese Mac 2 3.5 in atomic wash, which is way more expensive knife, and I have beat the heck out of it. I use it for hard use. So yeah, you can use those for things for hard use. I enjoy those knives. Those knives work really well. This is no exception to that. Really, 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 really do like this knife. So is it a collection piece? Yeah, this definitely could be a collection piece. I mean, the marble carbon fiber Magnacut, I think if I remember, it's an exclusive kind of thing. It's not going to be made forever. I could be wrong, like I said. But I thought that was what I had heard. So definitely a collection piece. I love the way this looks. And I don't know if you're going to get the exact same combination going forward, but I do. I like it a lot. So, but it's definitely an EDC use, I think, as well. So the design, overall design, I love the contoured shape of the scales. The carbon fiber works really well. It's nice and robust. It's thick. Feels hard use. I love the jimping everywhere. It's not crazy jimping where it's going to rip you up, but it definitely gives you some good grip. I love the Lynch clip on here. Much better than the Benchmade clip, because the Benchmade clip is way longer. And this is a perfect length, and I like the titanium flexibility. I love the axis lock on this. Broke in really nicely once I cleaned it out and put it back together. Just beautiful, right? So this is what I expect with no blade play. It's in there nice and solid. I love the ability with the thumb studs to work really well, both front and reverse flicking. Same with the left hand, right hand. Axis lock is always great because it's lefty compatible. And notice you can reverse the clip. So it's lefty rejoice. It can be right hand tip up only, left hand tip only. So it's ambidextrous. I like that. I like that. And that makes sense for an axis lock in my opinion. Especially a nicer one like this. I think that would be really great to have that option for lefties. So I'm glad they did that. It's a solid knife. It's absolutely solid. It feels good in hand. Everything about it. The action feels good. The Magnacut works really well. It's nice and rounded and chamfered. There's no crazy sharp areas where I'm getting cut up or beat up. I feel like I could use this and not feel like I'm going to have like a cut in my hand and blisters, whatever. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So fidgety goodness. Well, you have thumb studs that work really well, left and right-handed. You also have an axis lock that works really well. So, you know, you've got multiple deployment methods. Yeah, I don't think, no, I can't really get in there because the axis lock, it's always a little difficult with the Mega Springs. So I would say, you know, you got two really solid ways to open it. Definitely puts it above the 3, gets it into 4, maybe 4.5, probably 4.25. So I'm going to give it a 4. 4 out of the fidget factor. But it does it well, 4 out of the fidget factor. So as far as the fidgety goodness for the 4, yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for it to be done in a better way, and I like axis lock, and it works well. So this one's going to be 100. It's absolutely a solid A+. Solid A+ as far as fidgety goodness. For what you're doing with the axis lock and the thumb studs, yeah, fantastic. Overall thoughts on this? Is it recommended? Absolutely, 100% recommend. It's going to be recommended higher end knives, recommended knives. Definitely think you should get this. You may not agree with the price. You may completely disagree, and that is absolutely fine. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Go buy something else. But you know what? I think it's worth it. I've given you all the reasons why I think it's worth it. And I think those are legitimate reasons for people who are looking for those things. If you're not looking for those things, you don't value those things, you know what? Then don't buy it. But you know what? Don't just because you don't agree with what other people value doesn't mean what other people value is wrong. It just means that they have different ways of valuing a knife, right? It's a tool, it's an object. As my dad always said, it's only worth what people are willing to pay, right? And if you're not willing to pay it, great, it's not worth that. But if somebody else is willing to pay it, then it is worth that, right? And if a lot of people are willing to pay it and it's always sold out, then obviously people are willing to pay that. You may not be willing to pay that, and that's okay. You don't have to buy it. And that's all right. That's just kind of like why I haven't bought an Arrows, because I'm just not willing to pay, you know, the $522. That's just too much. If they drop that price, I'd be more inclined to do it. But I was willing to buy this one. I really like this. I like this knife. It was a favorite. I've had it before. It's not my first time having an Adamas, so I've always enjoyed my Adamas. And it was one of those knives I wish I hadn't gotten rid of, but I'm kind of in a way glad now that because I have this. So definitely recommended knife. Hey, if you have any questions, any thoughts about this review, the channel, anything, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. I do try to reply. I like to engage with everybody. So there's that. If you have any questions for me, I would love to hear from you as well. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, entertaining, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel, allows the channel to grow, allows the channel to do more things, allows the channel ultimately to be here for you and do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to all of you. And especially you guys who watch the videos, who like, who subscribe. Man, I just really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, y'all. And if you haven't already, hit that notification button so you can be notified of future content like this video. To all my channel members, thank you. You guys are amazing. And I know it sounds like I say that in all my videos, but I mean it. Every time I say it, I stop for a second and I think, you know, what it means to me. And it really does. It means a lot. And I thank you. You guys are awesome. So I just wanted to say my big appreciation to you guys for supporting the channel. Thank you. And if you guys have been on the fence thinking, hey, maybe I'd like to be a part of this channel, hey, there's a link down below. I'd love to have you. I'd be honored. It'd be seriously an honor to have you as a channel member. But here's the thing. You don't have to be a channel member. I appreciate you just being a subscriber, watching the videos, joining the content, engaging, talking with me, and conversing with others. I love that. I love that on the live streams, in the reviews, the videos, whatever. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. But if you are a channel member, you decide you want to do that, there's a once a month giveaway. I do have special stickers that I give out to everybody. If you're high tier, you get a super special sticker. It's early release content, exclusive content, polls, all sorts of stuff that I try to make it, you know, a way to say thank you and appreciate you guys, to really involve you in the channel. So I just want you to know that. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Hey, if you haven't already, maybe check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week.